Welcome to the Chronicles of Chiron, the Lion, the Witch, and the Healer. My name is Chrystopher, the AstroMedium. Jessica, introduce yourself for everyone.
I am Jessica Tanselle, psychic medium, spiritual teacher, and healer, and I'm so excited to be here. Chrystopher, what you
Yes.
got going on? What you been doing?
Well, I have been work. I've been working, baby. So I've been doing lots of readings, been teaching lots of classes. If I would say I was getting tired of astrology because I'm literally dreaming about it and waking up about it, and I'm having crazy dreams going on right now. So Chiron is doing its thing. Saturn is sextiling Chiron right now. So I feel myself even starting to do more work or being more disciplined about certain things. This full moon in Virgo definitely reassured some things for me. It was heavy. It was intense. The head pressure, the dizziness, the lightheadedness. Now, Virgo rules the nervous system, and the sixth house, which Virgo rules, is all about routines, diet, health. There's a lot of gut stuff happening right now, a lot of acid indigestion and heartburn and digestive stomach pain going on right now. Those are a lot of the ascension symptoms that a lot of people are experiencing. A lot of the ascension symptoms that I post about. I'm not always experiencing all of them, but I'm experiencing quite a bit right now, and sleep has been very strange. The dreams have been absolutely wild. Spirit coming to me in dreams, dreaming about things that I will heal later, and knowing that, very interesting shit going on here, okay? What's going on with you?
Woo, well, now that you talk about that, I tell you what, last Thursday through, I'm going to
Yeah,
say Saturday, I had a headache, like major migraine. Now, when I got
yes,
into
me
working on
too.
last client, it released majorly because actually I think it was partially theirs.
I
But I
see.
actually had one linger for a few days. So I had a lot of head pressure. And when I get head pressure, it like throws me down.
Yeah, it's a lot of dizziness. The head feels very full of pressure, heavy. It almost feels like if you could just poke a hole, you could just
Yeah. And it's,
pop the balloon and it could just deflate a little bit. And there's a lot going on up here recently, which I've had a lot of that, but where it's these sharp pains shooting back, the back of the skull, back of the ears kind of stuff. So there's a lot of ascension symptoms happening right now. Lots of like pain in the ribs. The twitching for me, and I know for a lot of people right now, is happening in the digestive system and in the sacral chakra as well. So there's a lot of sacral chakra blockages being released right now. So, which is very good for me because that's part
yeah.
of my healing as well.
Yeah.
So there's so much shit going on in the sky, lots of cosmic shifts happening for us. Chiron is very active. So for those of you who are not aware about Chiron, real quick, he is the wounded healer. He's a half asteroid, half comet in the center. He lives in the orbit between Saturn and Uranus. He's known as the Rainbow Bridge. He is how you get to the future. He is how you heal yourself and how you understand your deepest, most primal wound, insecurities, weaknesses. That's all this Chiron energy that we're talking about, is transmutation of pain into power. And so what we want to do here tonight is talk about not just our shit, because we're constantly on a healing journey and we're helping other people. You're a dental hygienist by trade as well.
Yeah.
You did that for many years. So your teeth are probably pristine. Just like for us, people might say, oh, gosh, all this healing. Well, it's hard for us to fall off the bandwagon because we're constantly reminding other people to do it. So
I'm
luckily
actually
for
going to
us,
say it's not hard. It happens, but we have to get back on track.
but we are reminded constantly by the fact that we're reminding other people
Yeah.
and that we're doing this work. And yes, it is easy. We're human beings as well, but when you are in a certain line of work, you more, just like these people who have these great bodies and they're uh, personal trainers and shit like that. And I'm like, well, you go to work and you work out while you're working.
Uh,
Okay. So, and I'm not saying they're all like that. I'm just saying there's a lot of people out here that want to do this work and they have not had the time. They've not had the mental capacity. They have not had the self-love
well,
even that we're starting to receive now.
totally. And the other thing is a lot of people that were awakened in December or this past year are very new to this, and
Yes,
they
they are.
take us along our journey, constantly healing, constantly adjusting, talking about the things that we do. allow yourself to take your time and build your practice, because we're
Yes.
human too. So
And that is what this Saturn sextile Chiron thing is all about. So Saturn is making a square to Uranus. He's going to do that throughout the entire year. That's going to play out in a lot of ways, especially out in the collective and in the government and our society as a whole. Saturn making that supportive sextile to Chiron is getting structured, creating new routines, thinking about healing in the long term, getting rewarded for the healing work that you're doing, putting in the work and the discipline in your healing practice, and also seeing your healing in a more realistic way this time around. There's a lot of spiritual energy that Chiron can give us, but it's all about, well, how do you take all of that stuff that's happened up here? When you do plant medicine, hypnotherapy, when you have a breakthrough in therapy, when you journal, when you have a dream that brings something to the surface, how do you pull it out of the ethers into your physical body, process it, and really see it show up in your physical life, you know, in the way you treat people, in the way other people are treating you, what you're attracting, the way you feel about yourself, the things you're saying to yourself in the morning. Those are things I'm noticing a difference on. So I know I'm speaking out it passionately because I know that it's working, and work is the word with Saturn. So there's a lot of work to be done this year.
there's so much work. And I tell you, you talked about the full moon for a second, and I led a full moon circle here in Louisville. I actually had 12 people.
Awesome. Perfect number.
It was perfect because there was 13 of us total.
Yes, my
But
favorite
what
number.
I found was me too. I got it tattooed over here. What I found was
I know.
the sacral chakra, because you said the sacral chakra was absolutely healing. But you know what else I noticed this weekend with the full moon is the heart and the throat link.
Yes, the throat especially,
stepping
yes.
into that authenticity and stopping the judgment of ourselves and others. But nobody else is going to judge you. You're actually judging yourself real hard most of the time. Me too.
Period.
But this was really what I found opening was,
and it's
we are being called to like really speak our truth and be ourselves.
Well, yes, and it's funny. And self-judgment, that's Virgo energy. Virgo is constantly reflecting back to itself, Virgo's always looking for improvement and can never be satisfied. And what's Virgo's favorite word? Starts with a P.
I have no idea.
Perfection. So she loves perfection, order, organization, structure, agenda, planning, long term. So there was a lot of seeds that came to fruition at this full moon, and a lot of what we were finding was, how can you not only all these things, like I have found myself becoming less hard on myself about falling off of bandwagons, okay? Falling off of the right ways of doing something, falling off my routines. And when I stopped doing that, I started to stay on them more. Now that's a tricky game to play with yourself, because your ego goes, no, if you fall off and tell yourself it's okay, you'll just keep doing it. Well, that's because that's how your parents treated you. Your parents didn't let you fall off and make those mistakes and come to those conclusions yourself. They had to punish you so you didn't do it again. So you punish yourself. Mm-hmm. But I am finding the more I fall off and love myself anyway, I don't contribute to even more shame that keeps the cycle going. And we've talked about this for months. But you have to actually start doing it and again, not every season and not every month and not every day is conducive to do those things. I may be going through certain energetic transits, or there might be transits happening right now for everyone, like Saturn sextile Chiron, which is making that gift more easily received. Okay. Right. With this Virgo full moon, it was a lot about new routines that were more in alignment with self-love and where you're going in the future.
That's what I got, was all about like self-love and the freedom of self for this last full moon. There was so much power in earth energy, and loved that. It's so interesting. Well, the different healing that we're talking about.
Yeah, and you said freedom, which makes me think of emotional freedom techniques.
Yes, I was just going to jump there. Thank you for
perfect.
transitioning us there. Come on, let's do it.
Okay, so, well, and that's something that I have experience with. And they call it emotional freedom techniques, and it's really that's a great way to put it. It's also trauma release therapies. I could also call it that. But really, for everyone watching who's like, what's an emotional freedom technique? That's a really fancy way of saying tapping. I'm really talking about the tapping. Yes, all this kind of stuff. Man, when I was going through my Kundalini awakening, I was tapping all night because I didn't sleep for 21 days. So all this panic, all this fear. I mean, I was in a state of panic and dread and suicidal thoughts and like full-blown Kundalini awakening. I started doing everything I could possibly do at nighttime when I was jerking and having really bad kriyas. And so I would just sit there and tap. And I didn't necessarily notice. I didn't do it long enough to really notice. And I don't think EFT can battle the power of the Kundalini serpent, okay? So I also was trying to fight a fire with a hose. So with like a little, what do you call those? A little flowering water, what the fuck ever.
The watering pot?
Yes, I was just sprinkling water on this wildfire with that EFT, but I've actually used it in other times and noticed the change and noticed the release and noticed that. So what is your...
So actually, I've taken some EFT classes.
Okay.
And so I have some familiarity with it. And what I was going to actually mention that I found interesting as I took the classes and became more familiar with it is that years before, when my anxiety would pop up, my automatic response before I even knew about my spirituality, this is my automatic anxiety response. My body just brings me to it.
Interesting.
And
which is one of the pressure points that they use.
My spirit's like, just go for it. And so
very cool.
This might be a very helpful movement for those of you who have anxiety. And so
there was all kinds of stuff. And this is very interesting because I want to go into a little bit more depth about EFT and tapping and kind of what it's doing and what the idea behind that is, because we've talked about a lot of healing techniques on this show, but really this is one that is very practical, very useful, and very physical based. It's really getting you into your body and activating you sensorially. And it reminds me of something else that I've used that I actually saw a difference in during my second wave of Kundalini, and it's called havening.
Tell me about havening.
Havening. Well, havening is, I think, here's the idea behind it. It's very similar to tapping in the fact that there's, it kind of uses principles of EMDR, eye movement desensitization.
It's a hard word to say.
Desensitization. I'm very good with words, okay?
You are.
All right. I'm a cunning linguist. Okay? See? So I don't know what's happening with me tonight. Bear with me.
You're in rare form.
That is true. I also need to be sleeping more and taking better care of my body. This full moon kind of whooped my ass in the sleep department, but
yeah, a couple of people actually mentioned that.
I keep waking up in the middle of the night, especially between 2 and 4, and it's and I understand what's happening, and I know, you just lay there. So I'm kind of in a processing delay right now, and we are still in Mercury retrograde. But regardless,
about that,
huh?
That is the best time to start manifesting. When you can't sleep, go into your manifesting, visualizing, feeling what you want to bring in.
Well, I actually never really thought about that. I usually wait till orgasm to do that.
Well, that's a great time too. I'm going to try to practice that one.
I'm serious, but I was just...
I love self-love.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk, let me write that down. I'm making it my manifesting time now, y'all. Get ready. It's about to be
speaking of rubbing yourself, that's what havening is about. So yes, exactly. It's exactly that. So it's less about tapping. And I think someone who was very involved in EFT created havening. He kind of noticed in his own practices that he feels. And, you know, some people disagree, some people don't. So it's really up to the person. I'm sure someone will resonate with one over the other, but that havening employed a little bit more, it was a little bit quicker in getting to the source or getting to the desired result. And so the idea of havening is you usually will have someone like a practitioner or a therapist sitting there with you. You'll kind of go into, you know, you're on a beach, you're walking, kind of like you would walk someone through a past life regression.
Right, like a
And
meditation.
you're rubbing your arms here, the sides of your arms, and you're activating that. I'm sure there's like, yes, it's like this. And there's even havening where you're doing it to your face. And so you are similar to how you are creating rhythms in your body. You are opening channels in your brain. Synapses and neural pathways are being activated and rewired through this, because a lot of what the havening that I did with practitioners was a lot of this going to specific places in your memories, like going to good places, feeling very comfortable there. And once you felt safe, doing this as you went to the really difficult or traumatic experience, and you rewiring through physical touch, your own physical touch, which is beautiful because it's you doing it to you, right? So you're healing yourself. And that's what I really love about EFT and havening. Now, havening, there's also a point where the practitioner you'll go like this, which is very much like eye movement, desensitization, reprocessing. And the idea of that bilateral movement, opening up a specific part of the brain and allowing a new, kind of making it more malleable, more clay-like, so that something can be impressed there. So that new calm feeling, I definitely felt calmer. And this was during my second Kundalini wave that I was, you know, about 6 days into not sleeping, and I'm doing this. And although I still couldn't sleep, I felt better. And that intense panic would kind of subside just into some butterflies. And I noticed it and I'm like, this works. And not that, but at the same time, I think that havening is not as versatile, although it could be, as EFT. There's a lot of things that you could tap on, they say, or tap out, and havening may not go to certain places the way that, because I can see that activating these different pressure points might go deeper, but then again, a lot of the reading I've done on havening says that that's not true. So in my experience with it, even showed me that it was more effective in my experience, but it wasn't like it was a double-blind study. I can't say that the situations were the same, the environment was the same, so I can't really say, but it definitely worked for me.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that, well, we all are going to find things that work different for us. Like, you know, Chrystopher and I love healing through plant medicine. Mm-hmm. So we have found that that's for us, but we would never, ever tell you that that's for you. What I'm hearing about havening and EFT, havening worked well for you. What they're telling me about this, well, one, this is soothing the lymphatic system. It's helping things to flow. The lymphatic is actually, you're just real gentle and touching, like you've got a dry brush. Those dry brushes for the shower are actually meant to be used dry to help move the lymphatic. So the havening is actually moving the lymphatic, but it's also connecting you and your inner child. You're over there going, hey, I got you. I got you.
And that is what they say in there. Yeah.
On the fact of EFT, what I'm being told is we're tapping on specific meridians, is what Spirit has told me. And so you can make this, you can come into a memory, or you can come into a intention of something you want to change. And you can have a mantra as you tap. I release what is no longer serving me. I am worthy of love. I am perfect as I am.
And that is a little bit different than havening.
Totally.
Right.
You're really empowering, but you're tapping those meridians to get that energy flowing. They just showed it to, like, I tapped and it just went boop, 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 boop through my system, and it got another flow going. So both of these are flowing different.
It's almost like you're creating your own snapshot experience, just like the trauma was a specific impression on you, and you're programming new impressions, but activating the trauma so that you can receive the trauma differently in your now moment.
Reprogramming. Reprogramming is what we're all doing when we're healing from trauma.
Yes.
Yes.
Period.
Period.
Period. I mean, yes, and that's what it's doing. I mean, as much as it looks strange, and it was strange for me at first, I got it and I kept doing it for several days. I just said something has to work. I also, and it was like sometimes you do one side, sometimes you do both. And I think for me, I feel that these things are very useful to be done on your own. You can go on YouTube and look at these things. You can buy books. I think it is extremely powerful with a practitioner or someone who can lead you into it. What do you think about that?
Actually, finding mantras for yourself. I sit with people who are like, and I hate actually saying this because it's I hate about myself. And so sometimes when you're in that, or if you're deep in anxiety and depression, it is hard to find the positive words for yourself. And Chrystopher and I both know this. We're familiar. So sometimes if you want to do it on your own, I love your suggestion of YouTube videos. And also, if you feel like, I want to get this done, but maybe you don't want to see Chrystopher and I promise we have people to refer you to. Also, we're all about sharing the love.
Right. Yes.
But we would love to help you with that. And also, like, when I listen to you and you're like, I'm struggling with depression or I'm struggling with anxiety, I feel this about my life or myself, I'm getting mantras from spirit. Tell them to work on these phrases. And so then we'll tap it in.
When you say mantras, would that also be like a synonym in the way you're using it for an affirmation?
Totally. Affirmations or mantras. For me, they are very similar, although there are very specific Sanskrit mantras that I love doing in my meditation.
Yes,
I'm talking about making up, I am strong. I am loved. I'm fucking brilliant.
Right.
I'm badass. Like, what do you want to feel about yourself? If you can do that and you can be like, I feel I have.
And you're putting it into your body. I get it. Which just
do this more. I'm just gonna make them myself.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm gonna be doing this. I'll be, sitting at my desk or
I know.
or on a date with somebody, and I'm just like, I am so attractive. He's gonna take me home. He is gonna take me to his back seat. He's gonna take me wherever. He's just gonna take me. No, I'm kidding. But
I dare you. I dare you to use it that way. I dare you to use it as a manifesting tool.
Ooh, I will take that on. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to do that. Now, havening is a little bit different, although I'm sure it can employ very similar things going on in the brain and similar results, like anxiety, releasing unprocessed emotions, going to difficult places. There's a lot of good feedback that I've heard about havening, but there's just not as much science or as much validation from what I could find. So for me, if I was just going into it or watching this video, I would probably start with tapping. And if tapping doesn't feel right, try the havening then. But I feel that tapping is pulling me stronger in a more versatile way. Although if you need to be calmed down in the moment, havening works. So I absolutely recommend people to give both of them a try.
I am hearing that those of you, because I actually have many people who have success with EMDR with a therapist.
Yes.
What Spirit is telling me is you guys might be great for the havening practitioner.
Yes, because
the havening practitioner might be good for you.
Well, even if you do it on YouTube, the person will do this, and as long as your computer's pretty close to you and your eyes are moving far enough away, and you don't really have to follow the finger completely, but that bilateral movement, that does work, because that is EMDR. you know, when you're going to a difficult place in your mind and your eyes move back and forth like that, your brain kind of opens up and allows something new.
Yeah.
Especially if you're calm in the moment, you'll access that memory later and you'll feel calmer about it because it won't link to the same nervous system response.
What you just said, and is what we've been working on with our healing through our journeys, is how to release the trigger.
Yes.
Because when somebody says something that's one of my traumas and it hits me as personal, it's triggered me.
Right.
They're just saying their shit. They're not thinking I'm taking something personal usually. I mean, 95% of the time, I know we got people that aren't that way, but
Right.
they've triggered me. Okay, so this
Yes.
all of this healing work is helping us to be able to respond rather than react and not be as triggered. And
Well, and
it's a
the
process.
interesting thing that I've read and experienced was doing havening and EFT. A lot of times you will activate a memory or you'll go somewhere or you're feeling something. And when you tap on it, literally within an hour, you can go back to that memory and you already feel different about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, why isn't everyone doing this?
Well, and I actually have people work on this through journaling, like using the technique of writing down the memory, what they actually felt. Then I'm releasing everything I felt, and then I'm calling in what I want to feel. Like that's a totally different technique. And also, it's very similar to this, where we're working through a memory so that it's less of a trigger. And the reason I went into that is because what I find is sometimes it's not the first time you do that memory. One memory might be 2 times, one time, maybe
That
20.
right.
You
Depending on
have to
how deep
replay it
the
several
impact is.
times. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm also, yeah, yeah, that was kind of where I was going with that is how deep the impact is may have to do with, and also they're showing me different people will resonate with different things like
Yeah.
journaling and things like that. Those with a lot of Pisces or Gemini in their chart, like you and I, will definitely benefit from a written word or a channeled type of thing. Those with a lot of Taurus or Aries in their chart, real physical signs will probably benefit extremely from actually touching the body, Taurus especially. And so there's, and isn't your rising sign Aries?
Yes.
Okay, you will definitely benefit from tapping. The physical will actually activate
I just
because
want somebody to like tickle my back, like constantly haven by tickling my back. Is that allowed? Can somebody do that?
I'm just like, baby, will you haven me?
Haven me.
Period. Yes. Well, and I really want to empower people. You know, we've talked about a lot of things on this show, from plant medicine, breath work, so many different types of healing work. And that's the key this year with Saturn making this sextile to Chiron. Saturn's the disciplinarian. He's the father. He wants you to work hard. He wants you to do the right thing. He wants you to get up early in the morning. He wants you to grow up. He wants you to be mature. And Chiron has this kind of
I'm certain
maverick
gratitude.
quality. And Chiron is he's a little spicy. This energy is, it's kind of like Chiron is loving, but will also let you fall into the dark, whatever it takes to transmute that pain or transmute that trauma into power. And that energy, those two energies working together, it's really, there's a lot of discipline that has to come in and consistency. And so these are things that you can put into practice that are real and you can get real results from.
Spirit just showed me, I've been doing a lot of yoga, and while you were talking, they were like, it's all the movement of energy.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing my practice, and journaling might be a practice, EFT might be your practice, it might not be every day, it might be random, but you're moving the energy through your body. We're releasing the stagnant energy and we're allowing ourselves to be renewed.
Yeah.
I know we're on time. I want to allow you, if you have anything else you want to share, but I also want to know what you got coming up.
Well, of course, I am the in-house intuitive astrologer for Eclipse over Roswell here in Atlanta, Georgia. So I teach astrology classes every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join us on Zoom, or if you're in the Atlanta area, you can join us in person. You can go to visiteclipse.as.me. That's visiteclipse, one word, .as.me/astro to pre-register. It's $10. Once we start doing our 6-month courses, those will obviously be more expensive. You know, those will come with a lot of material and everything. This is kind of like a walk-in. There's different topics every time. And once a month right now, we are doing a class on Sundays. The next one is March 14th. It's more like a meeting group and a class. It's called Empaths Anonymous, which is a 12-step program for highly sensitive people and empaths to learn how to clear your energy, live your life as a sensitive person, and love your unique abilities and gifts. Also, if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can go to my website at www.Chrystopher with a Y, Chrys. People are having issues with this. Also, hold on.
ChrystopherMedium.com.
Thank you. Because I do want to say this for anyone who gets this far in this video and is watching. I'm now on my 4th scam account that is scamming, who is using my pictures, my account, my information, and doing the very similar thing that they did to you. And my followers are attacking them. I'd rather them not attack them, just report the profile and let me know, because I'm saving all these things, because who knows. I actually got in contact with the person this last time, and I said, and I told them what their names were from previous accounts that they had, because they sent their Cash App, Quagene or Quagene Blakeney. So, and I told him, well, my name is Quagene. He said, well, who is this? And I said, your worst nightmare, boo-boo. And he panicked, and you know what his response was? Please give me money. I need it. I'm really, really in need. And I don't know if that's true, okay? But regardless, I'm going to send him love. But my point is, if you get an account that is AstroMedium's, AstroMedium I, AstroMedium, do not, I would never message someone and say, you want a video chat reading? Send me $70 on Cash App. Like, I have a website. I do this for a living. I take what I do very seriously, and I spend a lot of time on my material and my content. So, you know, imitation is a sincere form of flattery. He's using it. They are using our material because they're going, ooh, they're going to pay money for this. I can use that. Okay, that's cool. That's going to happen on your way up. Okay. But please do not attack this person or give them money, okay? And just report the profile. They'll eventually get tired and go on to another person, because they're like, oh, these people's followers are not playing games. And I'm not playing games either. Okay, Jessica, what do you have going on?
Well, you can book an appointment with me at thejessicatanselle.com. I do have a Monday night witch circle that I lead. Tonight we talked about how to open your communication with spirit. Next week we're going to be talking about flame messages. If you haven't done flame messages, I love them. They're so fun. That's every Monday, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can't make it live, I do send out the recording. It's $20. I've launched my mediumship for the intuitive course, and I am super stoked. Like,
yes, good for you.
The funny thing about it is I was doing it last week, like putting it together, and I was like, okay, March. Why every time I wrote May? Because Spirit was like, we're trying to tell you.
Right.
So you have time to get registered, but right now I do have some payment plan options. I'm trying to make things easy for you guys.
For sure.
So about that course, I have 2 retreats coming up. We are leading women's retreats, men's retreats, and couples retreats. These are beautiful plant ceremonies that we have some bougie stuff that we add to it, like March 12th through the 14th. I have a henna artist.
Ooh.
And I have yoni steams coming. So we're getting plant for the yoni, plant for the skin.
Ooh, wow. Very cool.
So these retreats, I'm like, I get to pamper people.
Period.
I'm in it. So if you're interested, please reach out. We are 12 weeks out from the next one, which gives you time again to have a payment plan if you want to really do it.
Very good.
I love this work. So grateful to be here tonight with you.
Yes.
I love when we get to catch up. Hey, I need to tell you something. You know that corner in Louisville that's called like Eastern Parkway and Barstown Road? That prime spot everybody likes to visit?
I do, and I'm so excited for you.
You're about to find me on the corner. I'm gonna be there, y'all. I'm gonna be there on the corner. So I got a location coming, and also Healing Within is expanding. So be on the lookout for that as well.
About time.
I had to tell you, I was so excited about that today.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Cool.
Well, thank you all for joining us for the Chronicles of Chiron, the Lion, the Witch, and the Healer. We will see you next week here on Soulfire on Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there or be square.
Bye, you guys. We'll see you next week.